powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, it's Football at 4.
All right, it's time for Football at 4 here on the Sports Bash, and it is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. A new one dropped today at 6 a.m., and you can listen to that with Jeff Mosher and this man right here. He is Adam Caplan. They form the Inside the Birds podcast Mondays and Thursdays, 6 a.m. You can listen to a new edition of the Inside the Birds podcast and everything else on their platform this offseason as well. I know Adam's got the Twitch channel doing NFL talk, Eagles conversation, and more. And, of course, here on Football at 4. What's going on, Adam?
Mike, good to be with you. Yeah, the Steelers, this is surprising. We just had a big news item here. The Steelers cut their best lineman, David DeCastro. I don't understand why they did that. That to me is very surprising. I don't know if he was asked to take a pay cut or not, but that was a stunner to me. That just came over. They just announced it. So that just happened. Not that the Eagles need him, but Steelers released one of the better guards in the league and who certainly be a Hall of Famer, and David DeCastro.
All right. It's funny because we were just talking about all the NBA crazy news that is happening. It's like the NFL said, hey, we need a little bit of pub too. Somebody do something. I'm sure that's not why they ended up doing it, but you're right. Yep. That Steelers team's interesting. That division's really interesting, actually. I think a lot of people think the Browns are now the favorites, and because the Steelers with their quarterback. So I heard somebody say yesterday that Roethlisberger's the worst quarterback in that division.
Well, look, Baker Mayfield improved. Now, Joe Burrow is coming off a torn ACL, so let's not forget about that. Lamar Jackson did not play as well as he did the year before, but now we've got a full offseason, or relatively a full offseason, and we'll have a training camp and a 3-game preseason for the Ravens. He should improve. And Ben Roethlisberger last year was a check-down quarterback. Everything was short. Ben was asked about it recently about why they weren't throwing the ball downfield. He kind of indicated that his elbow felt good after the surgery, but when you come back from a surgery like that, you're not going to be your normal self. And so this year, and they remember, Steelers changed their offensive coordinator, so things are going to change with their offense this season.
All right. On the latest edition of the Inside the Birds podcast, which you can check out on all podcasting platforms, Adam and Jeff took a look at the 53-man roster on Monday of the offense. Today we're going to kind of focus in on what the defense might look like. And, of course, Jonathan Gannon, he is the new defensive coordinator. So the roster build makeup might be a little different based on the way that he envisions his defense. So let's start where possibly the strength of this team is, Adam, and that's their 2 starting defensive tackles, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave. But after that, it's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, this show that we dropped this morning was one of the most challenging to put together because for the first time, and Jeff and I have done this show, this is our 4th season doing it. We started in the spring of 2018. There are so many backup jobs open. There's so many key backup jobs open that you go through. Like 2 nights ago, I was putting together the format for the show. It took me probably just to figure out who we think the early 53 would be, about 20, 30 minutes just to do it on my own. So, yeah, look, behind Hargrave and Cox, they don't know who the 3rd, 4th, or 5th D tackles are. Now, we have a pretty good idea who should make it there, but they don't know what the rotation will be. Milton Williams will obviously make the team as the 3rd rounder. He'll play some end, too, if they need him to. Hassan Ridgeway they like, but he's had some injuries. He hasn't played very much for them. I think he spent 1 year with the Colts with Gannon. And Tree Pelotu is their 6th-round pick, who Jeff said they were looking for a nose tackle, and he can definitely do that. But overall, the 3 backup jobs, we know who they'll be, but we don't know who 3, 4, or 5 will be in terms of the order of first guy off the bench.
Yeah, would you agree, though, Adam, that Fletcher and Hargrave would be considered maybe the strength of their defense?
Yeah, obviously with Slay, but yeah, the 2 best players in defense right now, I would say, probably Cox and Hargrave. Slay didn't play badly. He just had some games. He had some individual moments, obviously against Metcalf and a couple other big-time receivers, but let's not forget, Slay was brought in to shut those guys down, and he didn't. A couple of receivers got him, but overall he did well. They're expecting to be better in year 2 with this football team, getting back to Cox and Hargrave. I think Hargrave is going to be a monster in this defense. I think he'll be much better than he was last year. Now, he played well in the second half of the season. Got off to a slow start because he missed a lot of training camp with his pectoral injury. But I'm expecting him to do well. But the DNs here, though, the ones who are going to get the pass rush here. The Graham, Barnett, and we'll get to Sweat and Kerrigan and all. But I'm expecting Cox and Hargrave to do well in this defense.
Let me real quick on Milton Williams. I mean, is he a guy they think is a pass rushing guy that will replace one of these guys somewhere down the road? Is he a rotational player? What do they kind of view him as?
No one told me this, but I just know we had said that we had heard Tracy Rocker, the D-line coach, liked him of all the people who turn in grades for the Eagles, because every player gets several grades turned in. It's the position coach, the area scout, scouting director. They'll get a guy like Milton Williams probably had at least 6 grades turned in. And this is a guy they thought had tremendous upside. Potentially start, by the way. I'm not saying he's going to replace Cox, but he could in maybe 3 years from now, maybe by his 3rd year. Because by contract structure, it would not surprise me if Cox does not play well this season, that 22 is his last season. That's something we're not really addressing right now, but Cox needs to play a little bit more consistent football for the Eagles at D-line.
Yeah, D-line we would think is the strength of the team with Cox, Hargrave, and then Graham, Barnett, Kerrigan, Josh Sweat, and behind those 4, I guess the 5th, 6th, 7th guys aren't going to get a lot of playing time, but it's going to be interesting the way that they rotated these guys in the past. How is Jonathan Gannon going to utilize this crew?
Yeah, here's the question. So we know, as you said, Graham, Barnett, Sweat, and Kerrigan. Kerrigan will also be a stand-up linebacker. He'll go back and forth. It could be by game, whatever. He's a pass rusher. That's what I'm calling him. I'm not calling him a specific position. He's just a pass rusher. He'll count more as a DM than linebacker, but he's a pass rusher. The question is, do they keep Teron Jackson, their 6th rounder? Because remember, Milton Williams has the ability to play end, so they may not keep him. Right now, I have him on the roster as a 5th DN, because remember, we reported a couple months ago that Jannard Avery and Osman are moving to strong side linebacker. So that leaves the door open for a guy like Teron Jackson, their 6th rounder, to make it.
All right. One thing on Derrick Barnett, I guess. I would imagine this is kind of a make or break for him. I mean, this is it for him. If he has another year like the previous 4, he would probably not be around any longer.
I would agree. He's making just over $10 million on his 5th-year option. He needs to play well. Josh Sweat could potentially get his contract extended before the season starts. We'll see what they do there. Kerrigan's got a lot left. The Eagles tormentor over the years. It's just when they announced it on Twitter that I did a double take. It was like weird because I saw his jersey. I'm like, wait a minute, is this a mistake? Ryan Kerrigan signing with the Eagles? No. Wow, that's and by the way, the contract, we put the terms out on our show a couple weeks ago. It's a really light deal. He's only going to make $2.5 million.
All right, speaking of light, the linebacker spot was very light the last couple of years. Now they added Eric Wilson. They think he's a starter. Alex Singleton came in, did a nice job. TJ Edwards has been a guy who's got playing time. Davion Taylor, 3rd round. They drafted Jacoby Stevens, Jannard Avery. They're going to move the linebacker. So give us a little overview of this 53-man aspect and how they envision these roles.
Yeah, when you look at these, Mike, when you look at their linebacker group, the only thing we could say is an absolute lock that Eric Wilson will be a starter. They're going to be a 2-linebacker lineman. They're going to go 4-2-5 as what we understand. The other linebacker could be Singleton. We're not sure yet. We know that Avery has the leg up on the strong side linebacker job. We're so young in this defense here in terms of learning. We're not sure. Are they going to go with Wilson and Singleton? Are they going to go with Wilson and Avery? Are they going to use Avery as a pass rusher on 3rd down? We don't know. That's if he makes a team, by the way. He's on the final year of his deal. Davion Taylor, we think he'll be on the team because he's a 3rd rounder, but I don't know how much he'll play. TJ Edwards is strictly a rundown guy. Jacoby Stevens is learning how to play linebacker here. So we've got 6 guys making for now. Wilson, Edwards, Singleton, Davion Taylor, Stevens, and Avery. You could, by the way, on the show that dropped today, you could hear our breakdowns in we have analytic information. We have some incredible information that we got some analytic stuff from our intern who got some great stuff. So I could just tell you that Eric Wilson is a perfect fit for this defense. He's a nickel linebacker, and he's the one guy, Mike, they know who could cover of this linebacker group.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how Avery is utilized in this linebacker form. Are they going to let him go? Yeah. Or is he just going to be kind of a role player? That's going to be one guy that I'm kind of interested in. Now, when you go to this secondary, obviously Slay, and then we've essentially don't know much about the rest of this crew. I mean, we think Maddox will make the team, but McPherson was drafted in the 4th round, and then after that, it's almost like let's pick him out of a hat.
Yeah, the locks to make the team would be Slade, McPherson, and Maddox. Those guys aren't going anywhere in terms of we're at corner. Now, after that, Craig James knows the defense. He played in it in Minnesota. Kevon Seymour is the only other veteran they have other than Slade. He should be on the roster. Michael Jaquette is how you pronounce his last name, Jaquette. I'm going to put him on there because he's got length. He's a major project. You'd rather have him on your practice squad. He played. The narrative of this stuff with the fans is just funny. I've run his name with a lot of people I trust. He played well for one half of one game. And people are thinking like this guy's the next Richard Sherman. I just got a kick out of it. He's changing positions. Like Sherman, he's a former wide receiver, learned how to play cornerback. But Sherman played way more corner in college than this kid did. So I would only put 5. I'm only keeping 5 outside corners, and Maddox will be the 6th as the slot. James can play slot. In our analytic numbers, McPherson did play some slot, more outside than inside. But that's it. I mean, that's that. I don't think Josiah Scott has a chance because he could play slot or outside. We're told he's going to start learning the outside position with him a little bit more than the inside. But there are a lot of question marks. That James and Seymour and Jaquette are not locks to make it. So you do wonder, until they get a veteran, and we think they're going, we pretty certain they're going to add a veteran at some point. It could be in a week. It could be 3 months. We don't know when it's going to be. It could be in a trade by end of August. Who the hell knows? But in the end, Mike, they have major question marks, as you said, opposite Slade.
Adam Caplan from the Inside the Birds podcast. And then the safety spot. McLeod and Harris seem to be solid veteran guys there. You got a nice duo, and then a lot of young guys behind them.
Yeah, we don't know if McLeod will almost certainly start on active PUP for training camp, and then they'll see if he could come off of it before the season starts, because if he doesn't, that means he's misses 6 weeks. We'll see. We don't know if he's going to be ready yet. Harris will start. We know that. Kevon Wallace will be in the rotation with Marcus Epps, who knows the defense from his days with the Vikings. Andrew Adams is a 4th or 5th safety special teamer. Kevon Wallace could be starting opening day. You know, Mike, this is a guy that I know a lot of fans like, but he didn't really play very much last season. It would be between Epps and Wallace to play opposite Harris if McLeod's not ready. But you're right. This one's a little bit more straightforward.
So that is a look at the early 53-man roster projection. And as you noted, one spot that they could add a guy, the most likely spot would be corner, would be that spot. Everywhere else, it seems like there's good, deep competition.
There is. I mean, look, how good is their linebacker group? You know, that remains to be seen. It's certainly a bottom 10 group. Could it be better than last year? Sure. But again, they're running a different scheme. You're right in your assessment. The D-line is the strength of the defense. There's no question about that. Safety could be okay if Wallace could take a step up and Epps improves off last year. But they've the position you never want to have a lot of questions is at corner, and they boy do they. I know they really like McPherson, but he is a rookie. We'll see what happens.
I like everybody that I draft too until I actually see them play, and then have to make a real assessment on them. Adam Caplan, the new Inside the Birds podcast, they go a lot deeper into these 53 men. Check out Monday's edition and the new one that dropped today at 6 a.m. And this is Football 4. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.